The morning sun was just beginning to rise over San Diego when Maya Park pulled into the parking lot of Elite Fitness Center. It was 5 a.m., her favorite time to work out. The gym was usually quiet at this hour, with only a few dedicated regulars present. Maya liked it that way. At 32 years old, Maya stood out wherever she went. Her father was Korean, and her mother was African American. She had inherited her mother's dark skin and strong features, along with her father's high cheekbones and straight black hair, which she kept in a neat, regulation-friendly bun. Years of military training had given her a strong, athletic build that she maintained with strict discipline. Maya grabbed her gym bag from the passenger seat of her car and walked toward the entrance. The cool morning air felt good against her skin. As she approached the front desk, she saw Ji-woo, the gym owner, already busy with paperwork. "Good morning, Lieutenant Commander," Ji-woo said with a warm smile. He was one of the few people who knew about her role in the Navy SEALs. "Just Maya here, Ji-woo," she reminded him gently. "We've talked about this." Ji-woo nodded, but his eyes showed deep respect. He had owned Elite Fitness Center for 15 years and had never had a member quite like Maya. She had been coming to his gym for the past 2 years, ever since she was stationed at the naval base in San Diego. Maya headed to the women's locker room, changed into her workout clothes, simple black leggings and a navy blue t-shirt, and began her warm-up routine on the treadmill. As she ran, she thought about her journey. Becoming a Navy SEAL hadn't been easy. She was one of the first women to complete the training after combat roles opened to females, and being a woman of color had made it even more challenging. But Maya had never been one to back down from a challenge. The gym started to fill up as the morning progressed. Maya moved from the cardio area to the weight section, carefully following her training program. She needed to maintain peak physical condition for her job, though most people at the gym assumed she was just another fitness enthusiast. As she set up for her deadlifts, she noticed a new face in the gym. A man in expensive workout gear was throwing his weight around, quite literally, dropping heavy dumbbells and making unnecessarily loud grunting noises. Maya had seen his type before, more interested in showing off than actually working out. "That's Do-young Kim," whispered Toddy, one of the regular morning gym-goers, as she walked past Maya. "He joined last week. He's some big shot from a tech company." Maya nodded but kept her focus on her workout. She had learned long ago not to get involved in gym drama. As she continued with her exercises, she could hear Do-young's voice getting progressively louder, talking on his phone while working out, a clear violation of gym rules. Jo-woo approached Do-young politely. "Sir, we have a policy about phone calls in the workout area. Would you mind taking your call outside?" Do-young's response was immediate and harsh. "Do you know who I am? I paid good money for this membership." Maya watched the scene unfold from the corner of her eye as she moved on to her shoulder press routine. She noticed how Do-young seemed to puff up his chest, trying to physically intimidate Ji-woo, who was considerably shorter than him. Ji-woo maintained his professional demeanor. "Sir, the policy applies to all members. We want to maintain a comfortable environment for everyone." Do-young scoffed but ended his call, muttering something under his breath about this place going downhill. His eyes scanned the gym and landed on Maya, narrowing slightly as he watched her efficiently moving through her workout routine. Maya could feel his stare but chose to ignore it. Her SEAL training had taught her to be aware of her surroundings while appearing completely focused on her task. She could tell from his body language and behavior that Do-young was the type of person who thrived on attention and conflict. As she finished her set, she heard him make a loud comment to no one in particular. "They're letting anyone in here these days. Standards must be slipping." A few other gym members looked uncomfortable, but no one said anything. Maya continued her workout, maintaining her composure. She had dealt with far worse situations in her military career. Still, she kept a mental note of Do-young's position in the gym, a habit ingrained from years of tactical training. The morning continued, and Maya moved through her routine with precision and focus. She could see Du Young watching her in the mirrors that lined the walls, his expression growing increasingly agitated as she efficiently handled weights that were clearly heavier than what he was using. As the clock approached 7:00 a.m., Maya began her cool-down routine. She had a meeting at the base at 900 hours, and she needed time to shower and change. But as she wiped down the equipment she had used, another rule that Du Young had been ignoring, she could sense that something was building. Du Young had been getting progressively more aggressive in his workout, throwing weights around with even less care than before. Several people had already moved away from his area, creating a bubble of space around him. Maya recognized the behavior pattern. He was working himself up to something. Jiwoo was watching too, his experienced eye noting the rising tension. He moved closer to the weight area, ostensibly to restock the towel station, but Maya knew he was positioning himself to intervene if necessary. As Maya packed up her things, she reflected on how situations like this often played out. In her years of service, she had learned that some people carried their prejudices like weapons, ready to lash out at anyone they saw as different or threatening to their worldview. She had also learned that the best defense was usually to stay calm and avoid escalation. But as she headed toward the locker room, she could hear Du Young's heavy footsteps behind her. Her tactical training kicked in automatically, calculating distance, analyzing potential threats, planning responses. She didn't break her stride or show any sign that she had noticed him, but every nerve in her body was alert. The morning sun now streamed through the gym's high windows, creating long shadows across the floor. Maya could see in the reflection of the windows that Du Young was following her, his face set in a mask of determination. She knew that the next few moments would determine how this situation would unfold. What Du Young didn't know, what most people didn't know, was that Maya Park was not just another gym member. She was a highly trained military operative, someone who had survived situations far more dangerous than an angry man in a gym. But she had also been trained to handle such situations with minimum force and maximum discretion. As she reached for the locker room door, she could sense that Du Young was about to make his move. The morning was about to become much more interesting than her usual workout routine. Du Young moved quickly, placing his hand on the locker room door before Maya could open it. He was taller than her by several inches and tried to use his size to block her path. The morning light from the windows cast his shadow over her, but Maya didn't flinch. "Hey, you," he said, his voice carrying across the now quiet gym. "I've been watching you show off all morning." Maya turned to face him calmly. She kept her hands visible and maintained a neutral expression. "Excuse me, but I need to get to the locker room." "You think you're something special, don't you?" Du Young's voice grew louder. "Coming in here, lifting more than the men, acting like you own the place." Several other gym members had stopped their workouts to watch. Jiwoo was already moving toward them, but he was on the other side of the gym floor. Maya noticed Tati pulling out her phone, likely to record the situation or call for help. "Sir," Maya said firmly, "I'm just here to work out, like everyone else. Please step aside." Du Young laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Like everyone else. Look at you. You don't belong here. This is a premium gym, not some street corner fitness center." Maya felt a familiar calm settle over her, the same feeling she got during military operations. Her mind began automatically analyzing the situation. Du Young was approximately 190 pounds, athletic but not professionally trained. His stance was unstable, weight unevenly distributed. His right hand was clenched, suggesting a potential strike incoming. Multiple witnesses present, security cameras in corners. "I'm going to ask you one more time to step aside," Maya said, her voice level but carrying authority. "Let's not make this situation worse than it needs to be." "Or what?" Du Young stepped closer, entering her personal space. "What are you going to do about it? Call your boyfriend to come help you." Maya could smell the protein shake on his breath. She noticed his pupils were dilated, possibly from pre-workout supplements or just pure adrenaline. Behind him, she saw Jiwoo finally reaching them. his face concerned. "Mr. Kim," Ji-woo called out, "step away from her immediately, or I'm calling the police." Do-young didn't even turn around. "Stay out of this, old man. This is between me and her." Maya remained perfectly still, her breathing steady. Years of training had taught her to control every muscle, every reaction. She watched as Do-young's face grew redder, his anger building at her lack of response to his intimidation. "You think you're tough," he spat out, "coming here every day, making the rest of us look bad. I've seen how you strut around, thinking you're better than everyone else." "Mr. Kim," Maya said calmly, "I can see that you're upset, but I think you should know." "Shut up," Do-young's voice echoed through the gym. "I don't want to hear your excuses. You people always have excuses." The racial undertone in his words was clear. Maya heard gasps from some of the other gym members. She saw phones being raised to record the confrontation. Ji-woo was now on his phone, likely calling the police. "You're going to learn your place," Do-young continued, his right hand starting to raise. "Someone needs to teach you." "Lieutenant Commander," the voice called from across the gym. It was Tae-hee, her voice sharp and clear. "Should I call the base?" Do-young's expression flickered for a moment, confusion crossing his features. "Lieutenant what?" Maya kept her eyes fixed on Do-young, but she addressed Tae. "Not necessary, but thank you." Then she turned her full attention back to Do-young. "Mr. Kim, I am Lieutenant Commander Maya Park of the United States Navy SEALs. I'm giving you one final opportunity to step back and walk away." The gym fell completely silent. Do-young's face went through a series of emotions: confusion, disbelief, and then something that looked like fear before he masked it with anger again. "You're lying," he said, but his voice had lost some of its certainty. "You're just trying to scare me." "I don't lie, Mr. Kim," Maya replied, "and I don't need to scare you. What I need is for you to step back and let me pass. This is your final warning." Do-young's face contorted with rage. The revelation seemed to push him over the edge, rather than calm him down. "You think I believe that? You expect me to believe they let someone like you into the SEALs?" His right hand was now fully raised, formed into a fist. Maya could read his body like a book. Every muscle tension, every slight shift of weight, told her exactly what he was planning. She saw the decision form in his eyes a split second before he acted. "You're nothing but a..." Do-young's words were cut off as he launched his attack. Time seemed to slow down for Maya, just as it always did in combat situations. She saw Do-young's right fist coming toward her face in what would have been a devastating blow, if it had landed. She also saw at least 5 phones recording the incident, Ji-woo shouting for someone to call 911, and Tae moving toward the gym's front desk. Maya's body responded with the automatic precision that came from years of training. Her muscles knew exactly what to do, even as her mind stayed calm and collected. As Do-young's fist approached her face, she prepared herself to demonstrate exactly why the Navy SEALs were considered among the most elite fighting forces in the world. The morning sun continued to stream through the gym's windows, illuminating the scene like a spotlight on a stage. In the next few seconds, everyone in Elite Fitness Center was about to learn a valuable lesson about making assumptions and the consequences of letting anger override good judgment. Maya moved with the smooth precision of a master martial artist. As Do-young's fist came toward her face, she shifted her weight slightly to the left, letting his punch pass harmlessly through the air where she had been standing. In the same fluid motion, she grabbed his extended arm just above the wrist and below the elbow. Do-young's eyes widened as he realized his punch had missed. Before he could react, Maya used his own momentum against him. With minimal effort, she redirected his forward motion, guiding his body away from the locker room door. Do-young stumbled, thrown off balance by his own aggressive charge. "What the..." he started to say, but Maya didn't give him time to finish. Still holding his arm, she applied careful pressure to his wrist and elbow, using a standard joint control technique taught to every SEAL. Do Young found himself being guided smoothly but firmly to the ground. It happened so quickly and efficiently that it looked more like he was choosing to kneel than being forced down. "Stay down, Mr. Kim," Maya said calmly, maintaining the hold. "The police are on their way." Do Young tried to resist, but Maya adjusted her grip slightly. A small amount of additional pressure made him gasp and stop moving. She had him in a position where any attempt to stand or fight would only cause him discomfort. The other gym members watched in amazement. Maya's movements had been so smooth and controlled that it looked almost like a choreographed dance. There had been no violence, no aggressive counterattack, just precise, professional control of the situation. "This is assault," Do Young shouted, his face red with both effort and embarrassment. "You're assaulting me." "Security cameras caught everything, Mr. Kim," Ji-woo said, pointing to the corners of the gym, "including you throwing the first punch." Tahi stepped forward, her phone still recording. "I have it all on video too. You attacked her, and she defended herself without even hurting you." Maya maintained her hold on Do Young, but her breathing remained steady and calm. She had been in far more dangerous situations during her military career. Compared to those, controlling an untrained civilian while waiting for the police was a simple task. "Lieutenant Commander," Ji-woo said, "the police are 3 minutes out." Maya nodded. "Thank you, Ji-woo." She looked down at Do Young, who had stopped struggling but was still tense under her grip. "Mr. Kim, I'm going to keep you in this hold until the police arrive. It doesn't hurt unless you resist. I suggest you stay still and calm." Other gym members had gathered in a circle around them, many still recording with their phones. They watched as Maya held Do Young in place with what appeared to be minimal effort. Her face showed no strain, no anger, no emotion at all, just professional focus. "You don't understand," Do Young said through gritted teeth. "Do you know who I am? I'm the Chief Technology Officer at—" "Your job title doesn't matter here, Mr. Kim," Maya interrupted. "What matters is that you chose to attack someone in a public place. The consequences of that choice are the same regardless of who you are." The sound of sirens became audible in the distance. Do Young's face showed the first signs of real fear as he realized the serious trouble he was in. The tough, aggressive man from a few minutes ago was gone, replaced by someone who finally understood the gravity of his actions. "Please," he said, his voice quieter now. "Let me go. We can work this out. I'll leave the gym and never come back." "I can't do that, Mr. Kim," Maya replied. "You committed assault. That's a crime, and it needs to be handled properly through legal channels." 2 police officers entered the gym, responding to Ji-woo's call. They took in the scene, Maya professionally controlling Do Young on the ground, the circle of witnesses with their phones out, and Ji-woo waiting by the door with the gym's security footage ready to show them. "Officers," Maya said, maintaining her hold on Do Young, "I'm Lieutenant Commander Maya Park, U.S. Navy SEALs. This man attempted to assault me after making several racist and threatening comments. Multiple witnesses and security cameras recorded the incident." The officers approached carefully, but they could see that Maya had the situation well under control. One of them took out his handcuffs while the other began taking statements from witnesses. "Ma'am, we can take him now," the first officer said. Maya nodded and smoothly transferred control to the police officer. As they helped Do Young to his feet and began reading him his rights, he looked shell-shocked. The reality of his situation was finally sinking in. "You have the right to remain silent," the officer began as he secured the handcuffs. Do Young's expensive workout clothes were now wrinkled and damp with nervous sweat. He looked nothing like the intimidating figure who had tried to bully Maya just minutes ago. As the officers led him toward the door, he kept his eyes on the ground, unable to meet the gazes of the other gym members. Maya stood up and straightened her clothes, showing no signs of exertion. She turned to Ji-woo and the other witnesses. "I apologize for the disruption to everyone's morning workout." "Are you kidding?" Tahi said. putting her phone away. That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. You didn't even hurt him. You just controlled him. That's the goal, Maya replied. In the SEALs, we're trained to use minimum force to control a situation. Violence is always the last resort. The remaining police officer approached Maya. Ma'am, we'll need your statement, and you'll probably want to press charges. Maya nodded. Of course, officer. Let me change out of my gym clothes, and I'll give you my full statement. As she finally made her way to the locker room, Maya could hear the excited conversations behind her. She knew videos of the incident would probably end up online, but that didn't bother her. She had handled the situation exactly as her training had taught her, with control, precision, and minimum force. The morning sun was now fully up, streaming through the gym's windows and illuminating the scene of what would become a legendary story at Elite Fitness Center. But for Maya, it was just another morning workout, though she would need to hurry if she wanted to make her 900 meeting at the base on time. Later that afternoon, Maya sat in Commander Hae-Nul Choi's office at the naval base. The morning's events had already made their way up the chain of command, thanks to several viral videos of the incident. Commander Choi watched the security footage on his computer screen, his expression thoughtful. "Well, Lieutenant Commander Park," he said, turning off the screen, "it seems you had an eventful morning workout." Maya sat straight in her chair, her uniform crisp and perfect. "Yes, sir. I apologize if this incident brings any unwanted attention to the unit." Commander Choi shook his head. "On the contrary, Park, you handled that situation exactly as we would expect from a SEAL. Precise, controlled, and with minimum force. The Public Relations Office is actually quite pleased. It shows exactly what we've been trying to tell people about modern naval special warfare." Maya relaxed slightly. She had been concerned about possible repercussions, knowing how careful the military needed to be about public image. "Thank you, sir. I tried to handle it as professionally as possible." "The police report confirms that," Commander Choi said, picking up a paper from his desk. "Multiple witnesses, security footage, and cell phone videos all show that you gave clear warnings and used appropriate defensive techniques only after he attacked. Clean as it gets." A knock on the office door interrupted them. A young officer entered with a tablet. "Sir, sorry to interrupt, but you should see this. The gym incident has gone viral. Major news networks are picking up the story." Commander Choi took the tablet and scrolled through it, his eyebrows raised slightly. "Well, Park, it seems you've become something of an internet sensation. The headlines are actually quite positive. Navy SEAL shows perfect restraint in handling gym attacker, and female SEAL demonstrates elite training in self-defense situation." Maya tried to maintain her professional composure, but she felt slightly uncomfortable with all the attention. "Sir, what are my orders regarding media inquiries?" "Public affairs will handle most of it," Commander Choi replied. "But we would like you to do one official interview. Show people that the modern Navy is diverse and professional. Senator Park's office has already called. She's particularly interested in highlighting your achievement as a woman of color in the SEALs." Maya nodded. As one of the few female SEALs, and one of even fewer women of color in the program, she understood the importance of representation. "Yes, sir. Whatever helps the service." Meanwhile, across town at the police station, Do-Young Kim was having a very different afternoon. He sat in an interrogation room, his expensive workout clothes replaced by standard-issue clothing. His company's lawyer sat next to him, looking deeply unhappy. "Mr. Kim," the lawyer said quietly, "the evidence against you is overwhelming. Multiple videos, witnesses, security footage. The victim is a decorated Navy SEAL. This is a prosecutor's dream case." Do-Young stared at the table, his earlier arrogance completely gone. "What are my options?" "Frankly, take a plea deal. Make a public apology. The DA is willing to reduce charges if you agree to attend anger management and racial sensitivity training. But your position at the company—" The lawyer paused. "Well, the board has called an emergency meeting. Back at Elite Fitness Center, Ji-woo was dealing with a sudden surge in membership applications. The front desk phone hadn't stopped ringing all day. Tae-hee, who worked part-time at the gym's reception, could barely keep up with the inquiries. "Another call about Lieutenant Commander Park," Tae-hee said, putting down the phone. "People want to know if she teaches self-defense classes." Ji-woo looked thoughtful. "Maybe we should start a women's self-defense program. If the lieutenant commander is willing, of course." The gym had become an unexpected center of attention. News vans parked outside tried to get footage of the now-famous location. Inside, members who had witnessed the morning's events were still excitedly discussing what they had seen. "Did you see how calm she stayed the whole time?" one woman said to her workout partner. "Even when he was yelling and threatening her, she never lost her cool." "That's what impressed me most," her friend replied. "No shouting, no drama, just pure professional skill. Makes me want to learn how to do that." By late afternoon, Maya had finished her duties at the base and returned to her apartment. She checked her phone and found hundreds of messages from friends and family who had seen the videos. Her mother had left several proud but worried voicemails, while her father had simply texted, "That's my girl. Clean technique." Maya sat on her couch, finally allowing herself to process the day's events. Her training had worked exactly as intended, muscle memory taking over in a crisis, enabling her to control the situation without causing unnecessary harm. But she couldn't help thinking about the bigger picture. A text message from Commander Choi appeared on her phone. "Press conference tomorrow at 1000 hours. Wear your dress blues. Show them what a modern SEAL looks like." Maya smiled slightly. She hadn't joined the Navy SEALs to become a public figure or to make statements about diversity. She had joined because she wanted to serve her country and push herself to the absolute limit of her capabilities. But if her example could help break down barriers and inspire others, she was ready to embrace that role too. The sun was setting over San Diego, casting long shadows through her apartment windows. Maya began laying out her dress uniform for tomorrow's press conference. Her phone kept buzzing with notifications about the viral videos, but she ignored them. Instead, she focused on reviewing the core principles that had guided her actions that morning: discipline, control, and professional restraint. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but Maya Park was ready to face them. After all, handling difficult situations with grace under pressure was exactly what Navy SEALs were trained to do. 1 month later, Elite Fitness Center looked very different. The gym had undergone several changes, all sparked by the incident that had made national headlines. New signs about respect and proper behavior hung on the walls. Security cameras had been upgraded. Most notably, the workout area had been expanded to include a dedicated self-defense training space. Maya stood in this new area, facing a group of 20 women of various ages and backgrounds. She wore her usual workout clothes, but now with instructor written on the back of her shirt. Ji-woo had convinced her to teach 2 classes per week, working around her military duties. "Remember," Maya said to her class, "the goal is not to fight. The goal is to stay safe and maintain control of the situation." Just like I did that morning. The women listened carefully. Many of them had seen the viral video of Maya handling Do-young Kim. That video had now reached over 10 million views and had been featured on major news networks. It had become a powerful example of professional self-defense techniques. Tae-hee, who had signed up for the class immediately, raised her hand. "Lieutenant Commander, how do you stay so calm in dangerous situations?" Maya smiled. "First, in this gym, just call me Maya. And staying calm comes from preparation and training. When you know what you're capable of, you don't need to prove anything to anyone." The gym's front door opened, and Commander Choi walked in, accompanied by a young woman in a business suit. Maya recognized her as Min Jae-yang, the prosecutor who had handled Do-young Kim's case. "Ladies, please practice the basic stance we learned," Maya said to her class. "I'll be right back." She walked over to greet the visitors. Commander Choi looked pleased. "Lieutenant Commander, Ms. Yang has some news about the Kim case." Minji nodded professionally. Mr. Kim accepted all conditions of his plea agreement. He's enrolled in anger management and anti-bias training. His company accepted his resignation, and he's agreed to make a public apology. He also agreed to pay a significant donation to a scholarship fund. Commander Choi added, "The Navy is using it to support women interested in special warfare programs." Maya absorbed this information with her usual calm demeanor. "Thank you for letting me know. I hope Mr. Kim gets the help he needs." "The case has had a positive impact," Minji continued. "We've seen an increase in people reporting harassment at gyms and other public spaces. Your example showed them that they shouldn't stay quiet." Behind them, Maya's students continued practicing their stances. Many of them had similar stories of feeling intimidated or harassed in public spaces. Now they were learning to protect themselves, not through aggression, but through confidence and skill. Ji-woo approached the group, carrying a framed newspaper article. "Look what just came in," he said proudly. The article's headline read, "Local Gym Leads the Way in Community Safety and Inclusion." "The membership has doubled," Ji-woo said happily, "especially among women and minorities. People say they feel safe here." He paused, looking at Maya. "Thanks to you, this place has become more than just a gym. It's become a community." Commander Choi checked his watch. "Speaking of community, Lieutenant Commander, you're expected at the Naval Academy next week. They want you to speak to the new class of candidates about professional conduct and modern naval special warfare." Maya nodded. Her story had indeed become a teaching tool, not just about self-defense, but about handling difficult situations with professionalism and restraint. The Navy had received hundreds of inquiries from young women interested in special warfare programs since the incident. "I should get back to my class," Maya said. She thanked Minji again and saluted Commander Choi before returning to her students. As she walked back, she saw new faces entering the gym, a mother and daughter, both looking somewhat nervous. They approached the front desk where Tahi was working. "We saw the video," the mother said quietly. "My daughter wanted to join, to learn to be strong like that woman in the video." Maya overheard this and smiled to herself. She remembered being that young girl once, looking for role models, wanting to be strong. Now she had become that role model for others. "Welcome to Elite Fitness," Tahi said warmly. "You're just in time. Maya's teaching a class right now. Would you like to watch?" The young girl's eyes widened as she recognized Maya from the video. Maya gave her a friendly wave and gestured for them to come closer. "Would you like to join us?" Maya asked the girl. "We're learning about confidence today. Real strength isn't about intimidating others. It's about being prepared and staying calm." The girl nodded eagerly, and her mother smiled with gratitude. As Maya returned to teaching her class, she reflected on how one morning's incident had created such positive change. The gym had transformed into a place where people felt empowered rather than intimidated. Her students were learning more than just self-defense moves. They were learning about dignity, respect, and the power of staying calm under pressure. The afternoon sun streamed through the gym's windows, just as it had on that eventful morning. But now it illuminated a very different scene. A community of people working together to become stronger, not just physically, but in all the ways that truly mattered. Maya looked at her students, women of all ages, backgrounds, and abilities, each finding their own strength. She thought about all the changes that had come from that confrontation. The new gym policies, the scholarship fund, the community programs, and most importantly, the renewed confidence in people who had previously felt powerless. "Remember," Maya said to her class, "true strength isn't about dominating others. It's about being prepared, staying calm, and knowing how to handle difficult situations with grace and professionalism." As her students practiced their moves, Maya knew that her morning workout routine had changed forever. But she wouldn't have it any other way. Sometimes the best way to serve wasn't on a battlefield, but right here, helping others find their own inner strength. The story of the Navy SEAL and the gym bully had become more than just a viral video. It had become a catalyst for positive change, a lesson in professional conduct, and an inspiration for people who wanted to make their communities safer and more inclusive. And for Maya Park, it was just another way to serve, not with weapons or warfare, but with wisdom, skill, and the quiet strength that had always been her trademark.